as I've always reported, it is not only Flint. It is not only Flint with water issues. You have water problems in Detroit. You have water problems in Cleveland. You have water problems in, I was about to say Mexico, Milwaukee. You have water problems in East Chicago, Indiana. You have water problems in North Carolina. You have water problems in Florida, in Baltimore, and now in Newark, New Jersey. So a couple weeks ago, I went to Newark, New Jersey, and I covered the growing water crisis there. Another poor black community. Poverty rate is around 30%, I believe. Majority African-American city. And in some parts of the city, the service lines that distribute the water were built in not the 20th century, the 19th century. The 1800s is how old some of those pipes that deliver citizens water. So while Cory Booker was mayor in 2010, they were finding high lead levels. They were finding high lead levels in schools, and now fast forward in 2017, they found high lead levels in homes, but they didn't do widespread testing in Newark. And now the chickens came home to roost when the city finally announced that there was a problem earlier this summer. A lot of similar things, the way it happened in Flint, happening in Newark. So last night, the mayor of Newark, Ras Baraka, had a state of the water. He had a state of the water meeting to continue in my view, unprovable, selective science-based statements that everything's just dandy if people have a filter. If you're watching from Flint, you've watched this movie before. It's fine. These little Brita filters were hanging out, they stop the lead. Just drink with the filter. So Baraka, at his State of the Water event, Newark city officials held a State of Water event Wednesday evening to update the public on the drinking water contamination issue. The panel discussion was held at the New Jersey Performing Arts Center. Mayor Ras Baraka used the meeting as a forum to provide the public with facts and to debunk myths. He said that the water in Newark schools is safe. He also said that it was safe to bathe in. Baraka also used it to advocate for Newark and to lash out at those who said that he lied about the lead levels in the water. I'm reading the story rather than showing you the video because the video is from a local news outlet, and I am afraid if we play a video from a local news outlet, we will get a copyright strike. We don't want another copyright strike. So that's why I'm reading it rather than showing you the video, because local news stations tend to be a little bit dickish and they file a lot of copyright strikes on their videos. So the mayor said, quote, "Don't tell businesses to leave the city. Stop telling people our water is poisonous. Stop advocating for other cities to stop buying Newark's water. Stop creating panic in our town." Again, this is the current mayor, basically, from how I'm reading it, saying everything's just dandy. If you have a filter installed, you're fine. Our tests that we've done show that I think they're saying 97% of homes with filters have no lead problem if using the filter. This is the same nonsense that they have been telling the people of Flint for 5.5 years. But because I've been to Flint 14 times, I could tell you, the water is not fine. And filters do not stop all lead. They go bad very quickly. They don't stop lead over 150 parts per billion. And they also, if they do stop lead, filters could breed bacteria, which the media never talks about. And most citizens don't get properly educated on how to even install the filter. So it is not a foolproof plan, but we have seen this in Flint, East Chicago, Indiana, which I covered at the Young Turks. They were throwing filters at the problem. Sure, in Newark, they have pledged a good amount of money to expedite and replace these lead service lines over the next 3 years, but how is that helping people now? And are you able to 100% tell the poor black people of Newark that their children can drink that water with the filter safely? Here is Mayor Ras Baraka on Democracy Now! Basically shaming activists who have been asking for more transparency. Where have you tested? What were the results? Did you run the water before testing? Let's take a look at what he said to Amy Goodman on Democracy Now!
Will you meet with New Caucus or the NRDC or activists with the Newark Water Coalition to talk about the crisis?
I've never said I wouldn't meet with any of them. None of them ever tried to meet with me. The NRDC is like this huge behemoth, very petty bourgeois liberal organization who comes into our city and tells us that they want us to sign an MOU so they can oversee our water.
Understand.
Memorandum, understanding. So they could oversee our water system. Andrea Adewabli, where she rest in peace, said no. We have our own oversight. Basically, if they wanted to give us best practices, I don't think taking us to court and suing us would be the best way to do that. I mean, they could have knocked on the door and said, like any other constituent, say, Mayor, we would like to meet and have a discussion about the water issue and how it's being handled or what we think would be the best way to do it. So now they're saying we're in court, which the first part of it, we actually won because they were trying to make us say that the entire water system was affected. And
the mayor of of Newark, said the NRDC is part of the bourgeoisie. Well, go ask the people of Flint if the NRDC, who, by suing the state of Michigan, by suing the federal government, got the people of Flint $97 million towards replacing those lead service lines in Flint that the state of Michigan, under that scoundrel governor, Rick Snyder, refused to pay up. Go ask the people of Flint if the NRDC is part of the bourgeoisie after they got you the money. They got those poor people in Flint, those poison people, the money to replace those lead service lines. So already this guy is full of nonsense. So I want to play you some of the activists in Newark, who Joseph and I are going to go interview this weekend in Newark. I want to play you some of their response. Apologies. They, unfortunately, for the beginning part of the video, were broadcasting sideways. So, activists, what are you going to do? But you'll hear them. Here is what they had to say, which really, really reminds me of what I saw in Flint, as far as the government saying everything's fine and the activists saying, no, everything's not fine, and you guys are really, really not being transparent when our lives are on the line, our health is on the line. Let's take a look.
We just came from the state of the water, which we were hoping would be a venue for city officials and experts to kind of give us an idea of what's going on, maybe shoot out some numbers, give us some flyers, give us some pamphlets, like, hey, this is what we're doing, this is what we're treating with, here's the homes that we tested, here's the levels in those homes, just some evidence to support the claims that have been being made about how many people have been tested, how many people are affected, and what it is that's happening. It seemed kind of to be a venue where the mayor felt the need to clear the air, mostly about himself. It seemed a lot like a defense campaign more than it seemed like an opportunity for residents to come and get more information, whether it be printed or from questions being answered. It just doesn't seem like a space for people to come and get information. It was at the NJ PAC, and it seemed to really, really be a performance. So I think some takeaways, I'm just going to go through some things that were said. Rod said that in 2017 that he said that there was a problem and that letters were sent out, different mailers and stuff like that. And that the plans, now that we recognize that there is a problem, is very confusing, by the way. That now they're handing out filters, they're doing a corrosion control, they're replacing the lines, things like that. He boasted that there was, right now in New Jersey, we have just received the largest lead grant in the state of New Jersey, so he patted himself on the back for that. He had someone on the stage basically say that water is not the biggest place to get lead, that it's really soil, paint, and dust from those things. And then they said that, hey, you know that Newark isn't the only place that has lead problems. There's a lot of other places. I'm not certain what they were trying to get at with that one. They had a representative from New Jersey Future. She said that's a Trenton nonprofit. So, of course, she got on the stage and plugged Trenton in, plugged herself in and plugged Trenton in. Didn't really give us a lot of information about what she knows as far as her expertise from about the water in Newark. And let's see. Oh, the Commissioner of Health was the president of UMDNJ, who was formerly the Commissioner of Health. He came in and he basically just did an introduction for himself. While we were there, he didn't really answer no questions. But he did say that in 2017, when Baraka figured out, or the administration figured out that there was lead in the water, that he was instructed as a commissioner of health to send a letter to every pediatrician in every exposed household immediately. I don't really know how we prove that or what evidence they have to prove that, because a lot of people, even today, still don't know. And then the representative from New Jersey Future went on to say that some of the elevated lead levels that we're finding in Newark isn't specifically from the water, but instead from flooding and runoff water that may come in, cause a backup, cause seepage, and so basically she shit on the sewage system here. So she's like, well, it's not just your water, it's your sewage. But she said it in a way that it seemed like she was trying to be forward about Newark, but it didn't really get over too well. So that's all we really have. I hand it over to Anthony to give a recap.
So one of the interesting things is that 2017 information that he brings up, especially if he says, hey, we knew that this was a problem in 10 to 20 homes. So, okay, if you knew it was the lead service lines in 10 to 20 homes in 2017, why didn't you expand the testing? If you knew that was what you're saying now, then why didn't you do it 2 years ago when it was a problem? Mm-hmm. The other thing he said is that we didn't have this information until October of 2018. That's bullshit. In January, the CDM, the consulting firm that he hired, issued him a letter saying there was a problem with the corrosion control inhibitor. But he waited until after the election to announce that there was a problem.
If you're watching from Flint, if you're watching from any other area with water problems, ring a bell? Deja vu? Heard this record before? It is very similar. What we're seeing in Newark is very similar to what we saw in Flint. The government pretending everything's just dandy, pretending they put out the information as soon as they knew, pretending that everything's fine if you put a filter on, pretending that, oh no, it's only in this part of town. It's only in this part of town that there's a problem, not there. Not over there. Not widespread. Well, I want to see the water testing. I want to know, did you flush people's lines before taking that test? Because not everybody will flush their line before drinking their water. Not everybody knows to do that, and not everybody has the time to do that. I want to see the water testing. I also want to know, why is it that I'm hearing from people in Newark that they're struggling to get bottled water? Why is it that I'm hearing from people in Newark that they're being turned away when they go to try to get bottled water or try to get water testing? Why is it when this mayor says, yeah, anybody could come and talk to me? My door is open. Well, apparently his door is not open. This is from the same group, the Newark Water Coalition. The Newark Water Coalition reached out to the city of Newark, New Jersey, City Hall on September 9th. As of October 2nd, the Newark Water Coalition has not received a response. The mayor went on to Democracy Now! To say that he will meet with anyone. If that is the case, why are we still waiting almost 1 month later with no response? We also followed up last week with a call and still no response. Good afternoon. Your email has been received. Thank you. Listen, might the mayor be busy because there's a water crisis? Sure. But the way he spoke about the NRDC and activists, I don't think this is the mayor that's going to solve this problem. I think this is a mayor that wants to escape all culpability, does not want any of the responsibility put on him. It's not all his fault, but a lot of it is. And frankly, why under this mayor are people being turned away if they want free bottled water? They don't trust your filters. Why aren't there people going in to test all of the homes in Newark, New Jersey? State of New Jersey charges a lot of money in taxes. So there's the money in the state of New Jersey to pay for water testing, to pay for bottled water until all of the service lines are replaced. So we're going to go to Newark this weekend. We're going to interview people, hopefully some of those activists, and we're going to see what's really going on.
Hope you enjoyed that last video. Hop on over to statuscoup.com where you can sign up for our email list and become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. Membership is how we grow. That's statuscoup.com/join. And remember, join our email list so we can grow the revolution with you.